Checked.
Hold on. Talk to me again.
Check.
Are you at normal distance on mic?
Predominantly, yes.
Okay, good. I'm turning up my volume because I don't want to blow my ears out if you,
All right.
Okay.
Again? I don't typically
There you
get
go.
too loud during the show.
There you go. That was a good program last night, by the way.
It was.
It was good. Very informative.
It was a good change up from the usuals.
Mm-hmm. It was some great information in there. Nikki's 2 segments were amazing, and I love covering the guns, so.
That's why you do a show.
That's it. Not sure why the very powerful, important individual I mentioned, and I won't mention now by name because we're live, was so concerned about the interview that he was concerned about. I wasn't, and I thought it went fantastic.
It went just fine.
Yes, it did. Certain people are not right all the time, are they?
Voldemort is often wrong.
All right, let's do this. Let's get... My construction crew called out today. Never made it here to begin the construction. You believe it? So I get an email. I get an email at 7:30 saying that their slotted time was between 8 and noon, that all the materials needed to be picked up at the location in Doraville. Okay? And then at 9:15, my phone rings. Robo-killer is trying to kill the call. It's a 706 Georgia area code, so I pick it up just by fluke. And it's the same woman that just sent me the email at 7:17. She says, I have bad news. I'm sorry, but the installation construction crew today called out. The closest I can get you now is Wednesday. I said, how about you get rid of the guys who they're doing Tuesday and put me in the lineup because I was supposed to be first and push them to Wednesday. How about that? Then I decided I'm not going to rock the boat. Whatever. Get out here Wednesday. So now it's Wednesday. I was pissed.
We'll see you in 48 hours, huh?
I was pissed, yeah.
I don't blame you.
I was upset.
It sounds like they had too much Sunday and not enough left for Monday.
Yeah, it was cold here this morning. It was snowing a little bit.
Was it?
Yeah, let me see. It was 20s, low 30s.
They're breaking ground, you said, right?
Ground's already broke. The foundation's already built. It's ready for them. All they got to do is construct on top of it.
Oh, okay. Got you. Okay. Yeah, they didn't want to hammer their thumbs.
Yeah. Construction crews, man, you know how they are.
I do. I've been
they
one.
They were like, cold, tired, and hungover. Today wasn't the day. Okay, what are you gonna do?
When I used to do third-party inspections for civil engineering, I would often have crews that wouldn't show up Monday. Hold up, here's Andy.
We're moving quick, guys, to get you rolling here.
Got the Hooser on hold.
It's not the Hoosier. All right, good deal. JavaScript error. Give me no JavaScript error. Just get your ass up there running. There we go. I am going to give a huge shout out to you, Armed American Radio listeners. I got notification today from MyPillow. The AAR support for Mike Lindell is bigger than most of the other big daytime radio programs. The consistency is off the chain. We'll talk about it briefly. All right, let's go. Let's get this rocking and rolling here.
Probably on more stations than many of them are, too.
I know I am. I asked Gallagher one time at an event he and I were doing in Orlando. I said, how many stations you on now? He said, 135. I said, yeah, but 180 over here.
Yeah, no, there's others that do midday shows now, and they claim to be on X amount of hundreds of outlets, and I just giggle because I know better.
Well, technically they are. They're technically deal. I mean, you can split hairs there.
Well, between the frequency and the .coms and then the podcast sites, okay. But
they're talking .coms and podcast sites? Forget it.
I believe they are.
No, you talk just over the airwaves? No. AM, FM, I'm good with that. You got an AM and then an FM signal? I'm good with that, okay?
30.
I'm good with that.
No, I don't agree with that either, but we're past 30. I know, yeah. We sit and talk about how they fluff. All right, here we go. Dude, I gave you 30 while we were talking.
I don't have any feed.
You don't have any feed? Oh, crap.
I have no feed live on the radio. So we're waiting for the feed here. Andy Hooser can probably hear me. Radio World can probably hear me, but I can't hear anything in Radio World.
Okay, I'm going to tell you when to go live, okay?
All right.
Because the open is playing.
Okay.
You're live.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. Yeah, baby. Here in the you gotta love a start to the day, right? Oh man, got it all recorded for you too. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, the day after the Monster Cast. Gotta love when it's a little bumpy getting out of the gate. I love it. We are here in the gunbroker.com studios. This is the Crossbreed Holsters microphone. Every bit of this being brought to you by X Insurance. And before I go anywhere today with you, I have got to lay this out for you. I got notified today by mypillow.com. I saw a report come out, and I spoke with my contact over there, who I talk to at least once a week, and they were thrilled. Armed American Radio listeners' support for Mike Lindell is bigger than virtually every other outlet out there. And I'm going to throw this at you again because I get angry about this. Angry Mark almost came out last night, kind of did a little bit on the Monster Cast when I was talking about how Mike Lindell being canceled. I want you to think about this for a second. A man who literally came up from nothing, the ashes of a crack den, to create MyPillow. I mean, you know MyPillow. I don't even have to tell you about it. That's because you all know. That's why. He created it with his bare hands and his daughter. And his life was was literally in the toilet. He had been awake for 2 weeks in a crack house, literally awake for 2 weeks. I've seen the picture. He showed it to me on his cell phone. When a crack dealer said, "This is what you look like." And when the crack dealer stops selling crack to you, you got issues. And Mike writes about this in his book. And he starts this company, and it takes off. And he finds God. He goes back to his Christian roots. And today, right now, there are fellow Americans in this country who are trying to hammer him into oblivion and cancel him. The 1,500 jobs. Now, I want you to think about the businesses that surround his business. Let's talk about how this works. It's the way our economy works. Cancel him, shut him down. The left would love it. That's what they're attempting to do, shut him down because they don't like his politics. Get rid of 1,500 jobs, get rid of MyPillow, and think of all the peripheral businesses surrounding that location, the coffee shops that survive and went up because of that factory, the lunchrooms, dinner places, the tax base, the families that are able to elevate themselves into bigger apartments, new homes, and the tax base in the city, which increases because of all of this, and the goods bought and sold because of this man. It's in the billions of dollars, and they want to cancel him. They want to shut him down because they don't like his politics. And Armed American Radio listeners have supported him. He has supported this program for half a decade. I got, hats off, Mr. Lindell, to you, brother. We support you, and God bless you. I'm proud to know you, and I was proud to see that today. I really, truly am thrilled. How do you throw it back in the liberals' face? Let them know you support the man. Buy something from the guy. Use the AAR promo code. That's how they know it comes from us. Gun rights and pillows go hand in hand. It's incredible. It really, truly is, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you haven't supported him yet, do it. Greg, can you bring your mic live real quick?
1 second.
In Dallas, All right, we've got Greg down in Dallas, production in Dallas, and I don't know if he knows this or not, but I want you to know this is important stuff. We had an individual who was watching the show on the live stream yesterday, said essentially that he bought everything when he was during the program, that he went to Mike Lindell, he went to MyPillow, and he didn't use a code. He said, I wanted to pay full price, and he bought tons of stuff. You remember that, Greg, from last night?
I believe I faintly remember that.
That's what Armed American Radio listeners are about, man. They pick up the cause, they run with it, and they make a difference. But this guy said, I didn't want a discount. I wanted him to get my money. And I think he bought just a ton of stuff. If I'm not mistaken, he bought some, I think his phrase was everything on the menu, if I'm not mistaken. Just incredible stuff. Are you surprised by that, Greg, with AAR listeners?
No, not at all. And I believe that was like not last night, but the week before last, wasn't it?
It happens all the time. We may be
that
confusing
seems like a familiar. That seems like a familiar order that I've heard previously. So
yeah, just incredible, man. I want to thank you enough. And really, it truly is. If you want to stick it in their face, that's how you do it. You don't shop at Dick's, and you buy stuff from Mike. And you don't shop at Bed Bath & Beyond anymore. You can get that crap anywhere. I bet your wife or husband knows somebody that makes stuff like that you can get at Bed Bath & Beyond. Pots and pans, you get them anywhere. But that's what we do, and that's how it works. That's why we're successful. That's why freedom will prevail. So if you haven't supported Mike yet, please do. Let him know it's Armed American Radio. MyPillow.com. Use the AAR promo code, for gosh sakes. They love seeing the support from this radio show. It is absolutely incredible, and I'm proud of it. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason, welcome to the show, bud. I'm sorry, Andy, to take some of your time, but I had to talk about that, brother. It's just so cool, man.
It's great. I mean, we've talked about it before, and when I fill in for you and I get the opportunity to jump on there, it's so cool to be able to hear about the partners and how excited, because it's look, there are more people awake, alert, aware. They're frustrated, they're angry, they're pissed off more than I think ever before. And it's not just going out and holding a sign and chanting a nice little catchy slogan, but it's actually going out doing something about it and then supporting the people that support the same cause, because we're in this together, which means we're dude, I'm excited for this year, even though there's a lot of negative, bad crap out there. I'm excited for this year because there are more people actively trying to fight against it than I think we've ever seen in our lifetime.
I've never seen anything like it. And, I'm seeing some of the comments in here, and I'm love seeing what I'm seeing. Goya, we remember Goya Food CEO steps up to the plate, supports the sitting president of the United States, and the left tries to blow Goya away. Are you kidding me? I got more Goya stuff in my cupboards now than I know what to do with, for that very reason. I do the same thing. I put my money where my mouth is. I go and I buy this stuff. And guys, use the promo codes. That's how they know where it's coming from. They want you to. They want you to use the code. That's how they keep track. They know what the support is. We have more support, Andy. And I won't mention the shows, but both of the guys are good friends of mine. Okay? Daytime talkers. And we're blowing them away. You know what I think is fascinating? It's because gun owners understand the attacks that we experience these attacks on a regular basis, Andy. This is nothing new to us as gun owners, right? We know what it's like to have somebody. We've been trying to be canceled by the left for many, many years, long before the term cancel culture was even made up. Isn't that true?
Oh yeah, we were cool with the cancel culture against this industry long before then it was cool for the rest of the stuff. So, we're kind of the ones saying, welcome to the party, pal, because we've been doing this for a long time.
Right. I mean, it's nothing new to us. The media, we've hated the media for a long time. You go back and listen to me 12 years ago, and you'll hear me saying that the media was the enemy of the people. I kid you not. It's on the record. All of my shows are out there. You can find them. I'm glad Donald Trump hijacked the phrase. I would have gladly given it to him, but it's true. And I say this because when we stick together as gun owners, I don't think we can be beaten, Andy. I just don't think we can. This is a bizarre way. I mean, MyPillow, who would have ever thunk it? But it's a bizarre way to prove that we are righteous, that we're on the right side of things, and that we stand by and we support each other. And I believe in the bigger picture, the macro, if you will, that this is proof positive that freedom will prevail. Would you agree with me?
I completely agree. Freedom will always prevail because, look, just talk about how many firearms there are in the nation, 270, 280 million that we know of.
Far more than
8 billion rounds of ammunition. I mean, there's so many firearms. There's so many people that understand whether it's for self-defense, whether it's for hunting, whether it's for military experience, whatever. There are so many firearms. It's an industry that will never, ever go away. They can try to attack it. They can try to silence it. They can try to suppress it. They can try and punish us for it. They can try and regulate it. They can do whatever they want to. They can try it, but it's not going to go anywhere because it's too big, and it's the most basic fundamental right in this nation is to be able to have your religion, is to be able to have your freedom of speech, and to be able to have your firearm. I wrote my monthly newsletter on my blog about that, is that if we fight for those three principles right there, then they cannot win no matter what executive order with this 50 executive order marathon Biden tries to do,
30,
whatever AOC and the progressives try to do. If we hold those three pillars of freedom up with our God, with our guns, and with our speech, then they can't take the rest away. And we're going to continue to fight that, and they're not going anywhere.
Well, and they're going to try. Let me take this to the break because we were just notified. I'm going to cover this with Andy, and we've got one more segment with him. But Guns.com is reporting today. Love going to Guns.com. I could go lots of different sources, but why not? You don't feed the trolls. You go where you feed. You go where you eat. Guns.com. A federal banking regulator has now pumped the brakes on a planned rule that would have ended discrimination against firearm-related companies seeking financial services. You know what that means in a nutshell?
20.
A career bureaucrat in Washington, D.C., who doesn't like your gun rights has iced a regulation that would have made sure that Bank of America couldn't have said to you, I don't want to finance you because you sell guns. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Hey.
Yo.
What'd you change?
I didn't change anything. Why?
How come you can hear things now?
I don't know. I didn't change a thing.
So could you hear the bed?
Yes. When it came back in, yes. After you took me live, yes.
And you could hear Andy.
I could hear Andy.
And you could hear me.
Right now I can.
And when I was on the air with you, yes.
Yes.
All right. So you couldn't hear the show open, but now you can hear everything else.
Correct. I couldn't hear the show open. You told me 30, and that was the exact same time that the AAR Stone X went off, right smack on time. And then after that, nothing. I saw the clock change to 6. I could hear nothing.
That's really weird.
I'm wondering, was there a delay in the opening firing? Because it was after 6, and I came in right. I mean, if you're listening, it sounded perfect.
No, it fired at the right time.
Strange.
It is really strange.
So live on the radio stations, they got a perfect intro. I just couldn't hear it at first.
Yeah, that's really weird. That's why I was asking, what'd you change?
Not a thing. I'm just.
I didn't know if something had been left from the setting when you left last night. You were doing the stream and
Nothing.
and you. It's really weird.
Nothing changes the setting on my board. Nothing. Everything remains the same. The song remains the same, baby.
Oh, I don't know what it is. It's a gremlin.
It's one of those weird things. You know what I think it is?
Go ahead.
You weren't paying attention. Sean got up underneath the desk and pulled one of those wires.
Yeah, absolutely. That was it. Sean's not even in the building right now.
That's what makes him a gremlin. Oh, how funny. Oh, funny. I mean, everything fired off normal. You said music is playing. Okay. As long as you didn't have my mic live, nobody heard me come in early.
No, not at all. The only people that heard anything going on funny was the stream. Yep. As long as we're good, I'm fine. I just thought something you'd maybe figured out something was potted down or whatever on your end. And you potted it up during the open or during the segment or something.
Nope, I run those tests. It's like pre-flight checklist, babe.
I understand.
The only thing that got me was when I was in Naples, and because the USB slider had to be up.
Yeah. Because
of a software change in my laptop versus what I've got on the 2 monitors on my desktop.
Yeah, no, totally. And that's kind of what I was thinking is like, was there just a pot that got potted down on your digital fader or something like that?
No. Speaking of pot, you know what I watched this weekend? It's the only Sean Penn movie I'll ever watch was Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I hadn't seen it in years. Utterly classic when he shows up at the classroom late and he tears up his his hall pass.
It is.
He calls him a.
We're close. Here we go. 30.
This upcoming segment of Armed American Radio is being sponsored by Gunbroker.com, the world's largest online marketplace to buy and sell firearms, ammo, and related accessories. That's Gunbroker.com. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show indeed, Gunbroker.com. Patricia Huff was with me yesterday for a half hour. I absolutely love when she comes on the show. When we cover the categories, and the categories were so fresh last night that she had to send me an email link to them. I couldn't even see them on Gun Genius. They're up today. But when we cover the firearms, I love seeing what's moving out there, particularly when it's near impossible to buy anything. Gunbroker has them. In many cases, the prices are higher. It's not. And somebody said to me the other day, Gunbroker's prices were high on the gun that I want. Gunbroker doesn't set the price. Not at all. That's between you and the seller. In many cases, there's in the past you would see more buy it now buttons. But today, because the market is what it is, it's just the market doing what it does. That's why I've said to you for the past year, if you see it, buy it. Don't sit around and wait for it. It ain't going to be any cheaper tomorrow if it's even there. People are buying guns. You should have taken that advice, a couple years ago. But nonetheless, Gunbroker.com is sponsoring this. We are in the Gunbroker.com studios. This is the Crossbreed Holsters microphone. Every bit of this being brought to you by X Insurance. X Insurance, a far superior company. Quit playing games with the gimmicky stuff and get real like you do with every other aspect of your life. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. The Generalissimo somebody has in there. The millennial Generalissimo. How are you, bud?
I'm living the dream, brother, every single day.
Yeah, you are, man. Yeah, you are. Federal banking regulator has now pumped the brakes on a planned rule that would have ended discrimination against firearm-related companies. You hear that? A federal banking regulator. That means a career satellite radio moment word scumbag inside the government. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, an independent bureau of the U.S. Treasury Department, last year had proposed a regulation to ensure that banks and savings associations offer and provide fair access to services. Well, gee, do you think? I mean, we should all be able to access everything if it's legal. I should be able to get financing just, right? And so should you if it's fair. The change came after some banks had reportedly denied financial services for specific industries, calling for boycotts. So, Andy, let's think about this for a second. You have a massive bank controlling trillions of dollars of U.S. wealth. Pick a bank. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Wells Fargo. I don't care if it's Chase, if it's Bank of America. I don't care who it is. Pick one. That all of a sudden says, you know what? We're afraid of being boycotted. We've got Black Lives Matter, and we've got socialists calling for boycotts. Woo! We're just not going to finance a perfectly legal firearms industry at all. What do you think about that? Nicely, FCC, nicely.
They've already started, Mark. I mean, just last week when I filled in for your program, we talked about a story where Bank of America canceled someone's debit card for trying to purchase a firearm, and they ended up canceling it. So it's already gone down that road. Pretty soon it's going to be, well, we can't finance or hold a business bank account for a gun store, a local mom-and-pop gun store. We can't hold your bank accounts for that. Oh, you're a big manufacturer of a firearm. We can't hold your accounts for that business either because it violates our community standards, just like what we're hearing from social media. They've already started going down that road, which is very concerning to me because, I mean, we're already starting to see more of a digital currency. We're already starting to see a lack of cash in society to where you can't buy things just outright. So if the banks start going that way and we go more towards digital currency and debit cards and credit cards and less cash, then that's going to definitely impose a problem on us being able to purchase these firearms when they don't want us to do so, because it's going to be flagged and we're not going to be able to buy these things. So it's definitely a concern that we need to be aware of and start trying to address right now.
Republicans on Capitol Hill immediately called foul. There's no reason for today's action by career officials in the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, other than bending to political pressure from the big banks, installing or eliminating the rule, will not stop the efforts of those of us who support it from continuing these efforts. Let me make this very clear, because, and this is not angry, Mark, this is just reality. This is still America. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to manifest itself. You could go all the way to both sides of the spectrum here, Andy. It's either going to end peacefully or it's not. You can go anywhere in between. If the left continues to push us, they're going to have a problem on their hands in a lot of different ways. And I'm not talking about war, unless they want it. I'm talking about everything in between. Here's what I mean by that. The new multi-billionaire who is not yet a billionaire, he may be 10 years old, she may be 10 years old today. They may be 50, they may be 60, maybe they're 70. But the person that's going to dust Twitter and Facebook and toss them, that person is alive. And that technology, while we may not know what it is yet, is out there. And it's coming. And these banks want to play games with us, guess what's going to happen? We're going to find a workaround. And then we're going to leave those banks. Because this is America. That's what American ingenuity does. Do you believe me when I tell you that?
Absolutely. I mean, we always find a way. Look at the war on drugs. You try and ban something, and people always find a black market and ability to do so. It's going to come back down to the point where you and I want to purchase a firearm. I'm going to be selling you one of the pigs in my backyard in order to trade you for an AR-15 because that's what I need, because I'm not going to be allowed to get it any other way.
Or I'm going to make the gun myself. I'm going to make it myself.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new industry created. That industry is already in its infancy, by the way. They just don't like it. So they demonize it. They call it ghost guns. Ooh, ghost guns. It's not a ghost gun. There's no such thing. It's like the boyfriend loophole. They just make this crap up out of thin air. It's a gun you printed on a 3D printer because the technology exists today that you have a right to do. And lots of people are doing it. I know several of them. It's becoming a hobby. But this is what American ingenuity does. We will have answers to this crap. Okay? I firmly believe that. These people who are trying to wreck this country are going to get put in their place, and it is going to backfire on them. Think of Stop Stacey Abrams, okay? The new movement going on down here in Georgia. It's about time somebody stepped in front of her and said, no, 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 no. No, no, no. The line is closed today for you. Andy, how much trouble are we in, bud? Give it to me as the millennial general. How much trouble is the country in today?
Oh, well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean, we're in a lot of trouble with the way government operates, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there is opportunity for us. I mean, we need to focus on the priorities. We need to do the right things to be able to stop it or minimize the damage before we can get back into control. Number one, we need to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We need to pursue voter fraud issues at the same time that we try and advance policy. While the NRA struggles and does their thing, we need to be able to gather back at these statewide levels. We need to focus on the state legislatures to nullify federal regulation coming down so we can preserve our right to freedom of speech. We can preserve our Second Amendment. We need to focus on the right things, and we need to hit it with precision as we do in the firearm industry to make sure that we can minimize the damage and block a lot of what's coming out of the federal government, because at this point, the federal government is so far gone, we can't fix that from within. We have to try and fight from outside.
Fascinating. I would encourage you, Andy, if you haven't, I know you do, you're pretty up on this stuff, but the rest of you listening in TV land, watching in TV, wherever you're picking up the show, begin reading the Federalist Papers if you haven't already. Go back to your roots, Stephen Gutwoski from the Free Beacon is next. Thank you, Andy, for everything you do. Back right after this.
It's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. I'm Alan Gottlieb, founder of
Had a feisty call with Alan today. It was great.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, it was a good one. It was all good. He's so busy. And just, getting his time. I had been telling him that I would help him get something done since November, but it's out of my field. Okay. But I was helping him, and it got to a point where I was just mucking things up. I'm just in the way at this point. Like, you guys need to get in here and talk. And they did. And then time goes by, and they bring me back into it. Hey, whatever happened with that? So we're starting from scratch again. But I was able to take care of business today, and it was funny. It was funny. It'll be taken care of today. You said it was taken care of 2 months ago. Oh, yeah, well, that's true. I did. But you said you would do this 2 months ago. Oh. Get it done. Okay. Fun conversation all the way around. And all good. I don't know how he stays up with everything he's got on his plate.
I think I can identify with that. I've got so much on my plate I'm trying to keep up with. It's difficult most days.
Yeah, it's tough. So Sean's not even in the building, and we had a gremlin. Paul says, just imagine 100 million angry marks out of their boxes all at the same time. Paul, that's a recipe for disaster, brother.
Gutwoski on hold.
Roger that. Seriously, the individual, Facebook and all this crap, it's going to go the way of the dodo bird and the TV set. I'm telling you. So are these phones, too. It's always like that. You think about that. Your grandkids are going to go, that was your phone? When they look at an iPhone, that's what they're going to do. Instagram will become MySpace. Facebook will be, you guys used to, what a joke that was. That's coming, guys, I'm telling you. Can't happen fast enough in my book.
I saw an interview over the past week of a couple of guys talking tech that had read an article by the guy that originally wrote the internet that we currently exist on and wrote the code for it. And he said that this is exactly what he did not want to happen is what's currently going on. And so he's starting to write an internet 2.0.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. And you know who it is? It's Al Gore's cousin.
Well, and then there's Dr. Shiva, who created the first set of email. He is also working in on this, and they're trying to get it to where you can keep all of your personal information in a pod versus it being out there so that whatever website you go to can interact with it, and we're getting close. So they can't sell your info.
Sell my info.
Here we go. 30.
Back to Armed American Radio's Daily Defense with Mark Walters.
Yes, you are. I am Mark Walters. I am filling your prescription for freedom, coast to coast. And if you're watching us on the live streams, we appreciate that very much. Facebook.com, you can see us on the live stream, Facebook.com/Armed American Radio. Every single day, 4:06 p.m. Eastern, 1:06 p.m. Pacific time. You can also catch us on YouTube, running that on the two multiple platforms there for you. They like to throttle us, so go in there and, de-throttle them. Throttle them, whatever you want to call it, however it is. Anyway, welcome back inside. You are, and I love this, you are in the gunbroker.com studios. This is the Crossbreed Holsters microphone. All of this is being presented to you today by X Insurance, a far superior. If you carry a gun, call X Insurance. I just put together a very large package today for two very large companies that are working with X Insurance because this is real insurance. It's not gimmicky stuff that, it's the real deal. Xinsurance.com. Go check it out. Get yourself a quote. business, everything else in your life. X covers it. Guns, carry, law enforcement, business, lifestyle. Jump out of airplanes, they cover you. I wouldn't, but if I did, I'd have X. And I already have X, just not for jumping out of airplanes. Stephen Gutwoski, Washington Free Beacon. I see your picture behind me on the screen in the studio, so that means you must be on the phone. How are you?
I'm doing well. Is it a good picture?
It's a good picture. It's a picture of you when you were on Fox News. Yeah, it's it
All
looks
right.
10:44 p.m. Eastern Time, Washington, D.C. Stephen Gutwoski, reporter, Washington Free Beacon, the truth behind the student-led March for Our Lives. So that picture was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah,
You look
yeah.
sharp, dapper, blue shirt, nice tie, perfectly trimmed up beard. Love it, man.
Hey, they put on some nice makeup when you go over there on Fox, so you look all fancy under those lights on TV, you know?
Yeah.
So it must be a pretty good picture then.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've
I don't
sat
look
there,
like
man.
that right now. I can tell you that much.
You've changed your avatar on your Facebook, by the way, because now. But I knew it was you because the horse was there because you got the farm up there. That's in Maryland or PA?
Oh yeah, that's in Pennsylvania. That's Chester County.
Chester County. It's a pretty area, man. I know the area well. How's the? Have you had any scrapple and bacon or eggs or cheese or anything on a bagel yet?
You know me, man. I'm doing that, as often as possible. So yeah.
So good. I appreciate you turning me back on it. Stephen Gutwoski and I go back those PA roots, and I know the scrapple stuff. And he started posting that up on social media, and I was like, man, you know what? I haven't had that in years. Yum! And he put me on a kick, and I went on a kick for it for about a month, and then all of a sudden, like now I'm talking about it, I'll be texting him photographs of my scrapple in the next few days. All right, Stephen, the National Rifle Association, you have covered this debacle extensively, and it is nothing short of a debacle. I could use far harsher language, but, alas, I'll get thrown off the airwaves and probably off social media. Your latest piece from 3 days ago is Inside the NRA's Strategy to Escape Disaster. Top NRA lawyer opens up about using bankruptcy to fight legal battles. So let me ask you this. What is disaster?
I mean, disaster for the NRA right now would look like complete dissolution.
Boy.
And having all of their resources given out to other organizations and that would be determined by the New York Attorney General.
How close I'm a member of the NRA, but how close is the NRA to this actually happening? Closer, obviously, than it's ever been before. But is this a real possibility? Could this happen?
I mean, that is what the New York Attorney General wants to do. Certainly, that's her goal. Whether or not that's how things turn out is the other question. That's actually one of the main reasons that the NRA is undertaking this whole bankruptcy effort, to stop that.
Well, let me put it this way then. If I were younger and single, I would want to go out with Megan Fox, but I might not stand a chance. Does she stand a chance? Crazy analogy there, and I don't know why that popped up. But does she does she literally stand a chance? Could this really happen in our lifetimes? Could she?
Yes.
The NRA could go away.
It could. Yeah.
Wow.
No. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibilities, and I think, you look at the actions the NRA is taking to try and prevent it from happening, and they're pretty extreme actions, right? Filing for bankruptcy is not something you do lightly, and so that probably gives you some insight into how real they see the threat.
Well, it certainly does. Now, where does Texas fit into this in the research that you've done? A couple things popped up. Our good friend Alan Gottlieb and I have spoken about this extensively on the airwaves. One of the things that I noticed, Alan had also mentioned, was in the letter to the board, Wayne LaPierre had mentioned that the NRA has never been more solvent than it is right now. Yet they're filing for Chapter 11, which is a reorganization, if anybody understands what Chapter 11 is. And in order to do that, you have to be insolvent. So I'm unclear as to what the strategy is, and you've been doing research on this. Catch us up. Anything new?
Yeah, they, Brewer says that you do not have to be insolvent to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Okay.
That's one of his claims. Now, experts warn that brings up a question of whether or not, the filing is in good faith, because generally, yeah, obviously, most of the time people file for bankruptcy because they can't pay their bills. Now, the NRA says that's not the case for them, although Brewer did admit that they will be using bankruptcy to try and shed some old contracts. He wasn't specific about this, but he said they're going to shed some contracts that are no longer useful to the organization, but after paying them out fairly. But the main point is that the NRA tries to get across here is that they're not short on their bills or unable to pay their bills as things are now. Now, if all these judgments that various, the New York Attorney General, D.C. Attorney General, their former contractor, Ackerman and Queen, if they were all successful in their cases against the NRA, then the NRA might have serious financial troubles. But and that's one reason why perhaps they can file for bankruptcy, because there's these looming threats down the line. At least in Brewer's view, that's why they can file for it and, not just have the case tossed out of court immediately. So that's how they're viewing the financial aspect of this. Basically, they don't need to be insolvent today to file for bankruptcy.
If they think they might be. The whole strategy here fascinates me from a business standpoint, to what I'm getting ready to say now. And that is, in this bizarro world that we live in, if you shift gears and go back just 2 years, maybe 3, but as time flies, you go back 2-3 years, you would have never seen this coming. The National Rifle Association was putting on huge meetings, annual conferences, 88,000 people showing up. This giant force, Wayne LaPierre with President Trump, giant meetings, CPAC conversations. Now, it seems to be a freak show over there. And from my position, I watch it now as, it's on the outside. Look what's going on over here in Freakville over here, because they don't seem to be that relevant right now. Life is going on. The battles are being waged. Second Amendment Foundation is kicking butt in the courts. Okay? Pressure is being put on. State organizations are pulling tens and tens of thousands of people to show up at rallies with no help from the NRA. Court cases are being filed. Meanwhile, the NRA is just kind of floundering over there like a goofy fish, and life is going on. Am I misreading that? I don't like feeling that way, but I do.
Well, let
30.
the NRA point of view on things, right? So they would argue that they are still very active, right? They filed a new case in Fairfax County, Virginia, over a ban on guns in the park there. They filed a new case in, I believe it was New Jersey, in hopes of taking that up to the Supreme Court. So, they're still doing things. They were very active spending-wise in Georgia during the runoffs. Now, obviously,
but it's
didn't go the way they wanted, but they spent a lot of money there.
They did, and you know what? But what it is, it's really the optics, I guess, or the lack thereof.
20.
Maybe it's a combination of both of those. We'll take that back up with Stephen when we come back. I think it's just perception, okay? But I also want to talk with Stephen. I've got a couple of places I want to go, but Dick Durbin's at it again. We'll talk with Stephen Gutwoski about that. Don't go away. Scott Allen in the comments section. That's a great point. Angeline Natelli, ciao. Yes, you are correct about that. I've been very vocal about that. Wayne LaPierre destroying the NRA. Joe Church, Delta, Ohio. What's up, Joe Church? Joe Church, Delta, Ohio. What's up? Welcome. About 45?
Yep. All right, here we go. 30.
The following segment of Armed American Radio is being brought to you by Defender Coffee. When you drink Defender Coffee, you're making a donation to a gun rights organization of your choice that protects and defends your freedoms. Welcome back to the show. Indeed, welcome back inside Armed American Radio's GunBroker.com studios on the Crossbreed Holsters microphone. All of this being presented to you by X Insurance. Make sure to check out xinsurance.com. Quick note to our sponsors, or about our sponsors, Defender Coffee. The promo code is AAR. I'm swilling. I got a hot cup in here. It was cold in Georgia today. Had snow flurries on and off throughout the day. No accumulation, nothing like that, but just cold. Cloudy and downright cold in the state of Georgia. I'm probably preaching to the choir. Stephen's up in Virginia. You got some snow, I believe, coming down there. Second Amendment Foundation, please support them. Lead Slingers Whiskey, really? Yeah, I got to tell you to support them? Okay. It's real simple. LeadSlingersWhiskey.com. Put your zip code in and find a distributor near you. Enjoy those great products responsibly. Car Arms, Justin, every single week. GunBroker.com. Free. FrontSight.com/Mark. We are getting ready to do a lot of things with FrontSight. It's taking some time, but we're talking about putting together a lot of stuff and a lot of people, and there's logistics involved. But FrontSight.com/Mark. It's like MyPillow. All you have to do is go there. Check out what Ignatius is up to over there. Get the certificate. All you have to do is get the certificate. I'm asking you just to get the certificate. It's free. You don't have to do anything with it. Or you can go there whenever you're ready. Go enjoy the class. It's a $2,000 4-day course for free. I know lots of people, and you probably know someone who's taken it as well. Nikki Gosser was on the program last night. She took it, the 4-day course. Loved it. John Lott wanted to remind me to mention that, and I didn't have time with Nikki on the program, but suffice to say, she's done it as well. FrontSight.com/MARK, North American Arms. Jessica will be joining us from North American Arms in the very, very near future. And I mentioned who else? I got to go back to MyPillow again real quick, because the MyPillow gig, couldn't be more proud of Armed American Radio listeners supporting MyPillow, and it's just evidence of who we are and what we do. We band together, we join together. It's simple. AAR is the promo code. Let him know that you're an Armed American Radio listener at MyPillow. Get a great product and let him know it's coming from us by using the promo code AAR. Stephen Gutowski, Free Beacon. Brother, let's cover something else you talked about. I got a couple things I want to see if we can get in quickly. Senate Judiciary Chairman, this just kills me. I mean, elections have consequences. We know it. Thanks a lot to the state I'm sitting in. Unbelievable. But because of that, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee is Senator Dick Durbin, a rabid gun-hating freak. And gun control, he says, is a top priority. What'd you find out?
Yeah, so Durbin met with a group of, gun control activists. Especially, he called them gun violence prevention activists. But
sure he did.
And he said that he promised to make essentially gun control a top priority for the Senate Judiciary Committee, which he's now the chairman of. Even though the Senate's is 50-50 split, but they've struck a deal now to, I guess, proportion out which party gets which chairmanship, and so Durbin's getting Judiciary Committee, which is a pretty powerful committee. They're the ones that basically approve the judges, so there's one area that he can have a direct impact in terms of advocating for gun control by pushing through judges more likely to uphold strict gun laws, right? Which is what Biden is likely to nominate as well. So that and they have the 50 vote threshold on that, so that's something that they realistically Democrats can just do themselves. Mm-hmm. Don't need any Republican support. So there's a major area that Durbin can have an impact as chairman of that committee, and then also they oversee NICS. So, fix NICS, if you remember that, after Sutherland Springs, that went through the Judiciary Committee. So, Democrats might try some legislation related to, maybe the Charleston loophole, they call it, right? Extending how long you have to wait if you get delayed before you can actually take your gun home. Areas like that you could see Durbin have a real impact.
This is what gets me, and you write extensively in here. You quote Grassley extensively. And Grassley pledged to defend the Second Amendment in the committee, the Judiciary Committee we're talking about, listeners, and hold judicial nominees accountable for their views on guns, regardless of how Durbin decides to run things. And he says, I've always been and will continue to be a steadfast defender of the Second Amendment rights of Iowans and all Americans. You know what? It doesn't matter, because we all know how partisan the committee is. You're not going to sway anybody. They're going to vote along party lines. It's that simple. And Grassley, while it sounds great, doesn't mean anything. Now, my question to you is one I asked last night, and that is, with the filibuster intact for now, I mean, it appears that Joe Manchin holds my gun rights in his hands with the filibuster intact. Because right now, I mean, look, I got hats off to McConnell. It was a brilliant maneuver he pulled, but he is the most powerful minority in the Senate, most powerful minority leader I think the Senate has ever seen. With that filibuster intact, Schumer's going to have to beg him to get anything done with the filibuster remaining intact. So I'll ask you the same question I asked others last night. Can gun control, which we know is going to come out of the House in droves, even make it through the Senate with the filibuster intact?
Yeah, I would say that probably not major gun control. As things stand today, that doesn't mean, politics is constantly changing.
Sure.
And we have new elections in 2 years. So it doesn't mean everything's fine, because the problem is, you might not be able to get something that needs that 60 vote majority. So maybe not an assault weapons ban or confiscation, something like that. You're probably not going to get that through the Senate. You're probably not even going to get that through the House right now. They couldn't even do that when
prior to, you're right, prior to the 20. You're correct about that.
Right. So, but there are other things that can happen that only need a 50-vote majority. So anything that's budgetary, you can pass through reconciliation. That's what they're trying to do with COVID relief right now, right? Biden is talking to the Republicans, but basically they're making plans to go around them if they have to, using reconciliation, which is basically a 50-vote threshold for, budgetary reasons. So if they want to increase the budget of the ATF, stuff like that, they can do it without any support from Republicans. Now they'll need Manchin and Sinema and some of these, Tester, some of these other, less liberal, I guess you want to call them, Democrats, but they can do it without Republican support for some of these things. Same thing with judges, right? So it's not a total it's far from a cakewalk for gun rights advocates at this point, just because, the legislature is going to remain intact for now. Like,
well, I'll tell you what concerns me.
All the threats are gone.
With the final 30 seconds that we have, let me thank you in advance for being here. I appreciate you coming in here. As always, you give us great information. The thing that concerns me is when you begin talking about the National Firearms Act, the NFA, you begin talking about tax issues because of the tax stamps. Could that become something of budgetary in nature that they might try to move through via budget reconciliation because it has to be financial and arranged? I don't know, but I don't put anything past these sleaze bags. But I know one thing: Stephen Gutwoski is going to cover it. He's going to cover it fairly and get to the bottom of it. We also know he'll come here and talk about it. Stephen Gutwoski, Washington Free Beacon, freebeacon.com. Make sure to read everything he writes over there. We do, and he's a major source and an influence for the program. Thank you, Stephen, for everything. Armed American Radio, guess what? We're going to get up and do it again tomorrow because they don't want us to. 30. And support our sponsors, our partners, please. If you don't have an X insurance product in your portfolio at home for your insurance yet, why? Go check them out. That's where I cut my coverage for my CC. My freedom's on the line. X has me covered. They should have you covered as well. Quit playing games with the gimmicky stuff and get yourself a real insurance policy. Xinsurance.com. Carry on, carry often, carry absolutely everywhere. Never leave your cave without your club. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow.
You've just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by X Insurance. X Insurance on the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, great stuff. Thanks to Greg and Mark and all the gremlins. That was interesting. I got that on tape. I can't wait to mess with that.
Well, there you go.
All right, Holmes, you done? Go get you an In-N-Out burger.
No, I'll pass.
Oh, man. Okay.
I'm always going to pass on In-N-Out.
No, just go do it. All right, man. Pass. I will see you tomorrow.
All right, man. See you later.
Gregory is gone. The click of a mouse. He's gonzo. All right. Oh, hey, Rick Huggins. What's going on in there, brother? Orlando Delgado, what's up? Thanks, man. It was a fun show today. Marietta, Texas, love you. Angeline Latelli. Ciao. Till next time, baby. The bow's on it, Paul. All right, guys, I'm out. Got lots of work to do today. I don't like that on Mondays after a long Sunday, but that's okay. It's what we do. Have the podcast up here for you shortly. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks for jumping in here with us today.